celebration with all our young people that made a inaugural trip visiting all of the HBCU campuses. Thank you so much for this attendance. We want to bring your attention to this great gathering as we welcome the visionary for this great movement, this kingdom revolution, and this opportunity to celebrate our young people. Please welcome Dr. James Wallace Edwin Dixon II.
Let me say good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We thank God for this great opportunity, and we appreciate so very much each of you being present. We are streaming live, and the reason we're streaming live is because we want the world to know how amazing our scholars really are. Let's give them a big hand. And so we are live at the Community of Faith at the King's Dome here in Houston, Texas, and we are celebrating and congratulating our 2019 Good Gang Scholar Power students who have just returned from an amazing HBCU tour that took them from Houston, Texas to Atlanta, Georgia, where they visited several university campuses there, and then to Alabama, where they visited campuses there, of course, Tuskegee, and then over to Louisiana. And we're going to hear from these scholars today. But before we introduce them, I want to just say to you that as you're watching this by streaming, and those of us who are here in the audience live, you're going to discover that right here in Houston, Texas, at the Community of Faith, these are some of the brightest young minds you will ever meet, and they love God. And they're part of a church family that invests in their empowerment and in their development. And so right now, I just wanted to give all of them a big hand of applause for being a part of what they've been a part of. I'm going to introduce them, and one at a time very quickly, and then we'll get started with a conversation. Devin Baring, Spring Woods High School, 10th grade. Stand, Devin. Come on, give Devin a hand. Christopher Bostic, Eisenhower High School, 10th grade. Cameron Bostic, Eisenhower High School, 9th grade. Michael Bostic, Eisenhower High School, 9th grade. Give it up for Michael. Kelvin, who's in the 10th? Okay, calm down, calm down. All right, so who's 10th grade? All right, so I have it wrong. Hold on, time out. I got it. So, what grade? All right, so then Christopher Bostic is what grade? 9th grade. I've got you for 10th. All right, and then Cameron and Michael, what grade? Both 10th grade. All right, y'all stand again. Stand. All right, that's okay. All right, but their mother was like, wait a minute. Jesus. All right. And then Elise Bush, Booker T. Washington High School, and she's a senior at BTW. Xavier Carter, Jersey Village, 9th grade. Caleb Davis, Houston Academy, 9th grade. Sydney Dunham. Where's Sydney? There she is. Hey, Sydney, how you doing? All right, hold on. I can't read lips. I speak in tongues, but I don't read lips. You got to write me a note. All right, Sydney, let me go back and do it right. Sydney Shadow Creek, 9th grade. All right, give her a hand again. And the youngest of the group, Caleb Hendry, Robertson Middle School, 6th grade. Armani Johnson, 10th grade, Booker T. Washington. Tayona Mortley, Carver, 9th grade. Hannah Victoria. Sound like she got a paid fan club. 11th grade, Summer Creek. Is that right? 10th grade, right? I don't know why they got y'all at. All right, 10th grade. And then Crystal Williams, 10th grade, Klein Collins. All right, wonderful. All right, Kelvon Brown, where am I? I'm looking at it. I'm looking for it. Number 5, all right, at Winch High School, 11th grade. The tallest in the group. I think, maybe so. We're so honored to celebrate each one of you. And I'm just going to ask y'all to conversate with us for just a few minutes. This opportunity that you all have just taken advantage of, first of all, thank you for making yourselves available. But then let me ask you, and if y'all can kind of hold it a little bit, I want to ask you, how many of you ever thought your church relationship would turn into something like this? And why is it important to you to be in a church that would have something like this to offer?
Okay, so I'll go first.
I need volume on the mic.
Okay, so first I would like, honestly, first I'll thank God for allowing me to still be here. Thank my parents and Mrs. Tanya for making this happen. If you would have told me years back that going to this church would allow me, it would take a place I've never been and do things that I've never done, I probably would have laughed at your face, and because I never would have thought of that. But the fact that I was able to first fly and then go to all these colleges I've never been to, the opportunity that was given to me, I'm truly thankful for, because it's changed me. I know things I didn't know before. I know what GPA you need. I know the background history of this colleges. I know the things that can get me there and how can I become a scholar there. And so I'm thankful for the opportunity.
Wow, wow. Anyone else want to respond to that question? Anyone else? Who all flew for the first time? Okay. Wow, wow. All right. I want someone to tell us, what was it like to fly for the first time and you're on a college tour for the first flight?
At first, terrifying. Because my brother Christopher kept speaking to me, saying like he know I mess with him all the time, so it's just like he saw this as an opportunity to mess with me. And when the plane took off, he like, oh yeah, and he kept getting into my head, so I had to put on the earphones. But otherwise, that I enjoyed it.
Yeah, you enjoyed it. So who else was afraid for the first time?
I'm telling. Hannah was scared, and then we had another girl named Brakia. She was scared. She was crying the whole time. She was shaking. She's like, oh my God, the whole time.
Y'all gonna throw Bree under the bus if she's not here.
To be honest, I was a little scared as well, because my sister, she kept telling me that when we were going up in the air that my ears are going to pop, and I was like, oh.
You were waiting for all of that.
Yes, sir. But after all, I had a great experience on the plane. I just want to do it like as many times more as I can.
That's awesome. So let me ask you, when you were leaving and you realized you're really making this trip, I know you've been planning for a long time, how did you feel on the inside that, wow, this is really happening, I'm really in the air, we're really on our way to another state on the plane?
I'll go first. I was scared at first because I didn't want to leave my mama. I didn't want to leave my grandma either. And then I was like, this is the opportunity for me to learn and to see where I want to go. So I was like, get over it, get on that plane, and do what you got to do.
That's the right attitude. That's the right attitude. Anyone else want to smile at that?
Hi, you guys. So basically, to me, it was my first experience. I was a little nervous because my anxiety was acting up, and I was sitting right next to the window. So when we was going off, and I felt that bump, I'm thinking we about to flip or something. So I'm like, I was like, oh my God, here we go. And then when we got off, I was like, oh, okay, I can do this. And it was like a dream come true because I was like, I would never think I would get on a plane and my mama would pay for it just for me and my siblings. And, you know, I was in Atlanta and I was like, okay, it's the same as Houston, but it's better. And they had, no, not like that, not like that. They had more like arts everywhere, art.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was saying, and it's a lot of bumps. You gotta walk. And I was like, when I come back to Houston, my cab muscles gonna be big.
So you landed in Atlanta. What was the first thing you learned in Atlanta that was like, wow, I'm here? Anyone? Some of y'all have not spoken. We want to hear from everybody, by the way.
Speak, bro.
Okay.
First off, name Kelvon, obviously. When I was out there, I'm just trying to say thank you for giving me this chance to go to Atlanta, to be honest. Out there in Atlanta, it looked just like Houston, to be honest. I didn't really see no different except for the buildings. But the places that we've been to, like, say, what was that? We went to Morris Brown, Morehouse, and when we saw Martin Luther King's statue hanging around Morehouse, I gave myself a little chills to notice that I'm standing in one of the presents that he went through to graduate from that school, and all the hard work that I have to be so that I can sit here, or maybe I should stand here today to say, appreciate everybody here. That's.
Yeah. Tell us about your Atlanta experience. What moved you?
Oh, okay. So my name is Sydney, and going to Atlanta.
Devon has set a precedence for y'all to stand when you're answering, so you may as well follow his lead.
Okay. So my name is Sydney, and going to Atlanta, it was very. What's the word? Nerve-wracking, yeah. Because this was my first time, not yet just going on the plane, but traveling without my parents, and I think that was a big deal. But I was with people that I trusted and that I loved being with my chaperones. And so, as I was saying, going to Atlanta was nerve-wracking, but when we were going to all the universities and going to all the museums and learning all the information and getting the information, it was important, and it felt like it was my responsibility as a Black woman to get this information about all the colleges, and it was just a wonderful trip, and I hope we can do it again soon.
So you're at Spelman College. What did you learn about Spelman College? Any of the ladies want to tell us anything about Spelman?
We really didn't get to experience everything at Spelman because it was on spring break, so we only got to speak to the security guard.
Okay. So did you learn anything about Spelman?
It's just an all-girls school.
Okay. So then I want you to. Here's your assignment.
Say what I said.
All right. I want you. Unfortunately, didn't get to go into it. I want you to research how Spelman was founded. And what you will discover is an amazing story about the founding of Spelman College. It's absolutely incredible, right? You went to Clark University and then to where else?
And
Morris Brown and Morehouse. What are you about to say?
Morris Brown stood out to all of us the most because they only have 45 students at their school. And
How many?
45.
Uh-huh.
And they only do 2 majors, which were psychology and music.
All right. 45 students, and they do 2 majors.
2 majors.
Psychology and music.
Yes, sir.
Why did that stand out to you so much?
Because they said back in 2001, I want to say, they had a massive erupt, I want to say, with the financial aid to where students were able to have money.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to do like a whole program within their school and be able to raise money so kids can go to school there. And they had to do like a whole shift in the atmosphere.
Yes.
So like the kids, they didn't have dorms at Morehouse. They had to go over to different schools and reach out and ask for help for each of them to be able to learn things. So it was different.
One of the things that I hope that this says to you is how challenging it is for HBCUs to continue and to thrive. And yet they're still determined. In spite of their hardships, because life can look like that sometimes, right? Okay. So you went to the King Memorial. I saw the pictures, y'all were at the King Center, right? What thoughts went through your minds when you were at the King Center?
So it wasn't my first time going. I went back in 2017. And when I went there once again, there is one thing that I saw, and it was a fire. And when I saw the fire, it kind of represented of how African Americans had to go through like hard, challenging things to get to where they are today. So once I saw that, I didn't see that in 2017. So once I saw that, I kind of took in consideration that I don't have to do that, and that I have it free, but then they had it really challenging.
Yes. Yeah, so they went through the fire for you. And it might suggest that you might have to go through the fire for somebody else. Yeah, all right, that's hugely important because somebody always has to pave the way, right? Who else? What was your experience like at the King Center? I've been there, I cry almost every time I go. Anyone else? Yeah.
So when we got there, first thing we did first is we went to it was like a Martin Luther King museum inside of there.
Yes.
And so it showed like all the artifacts and all like videos that they had going on. And so then they had like statues of people as soon as you walk in there. And to me, I think it was like people that marched along with him and they marched for equality. So that stood out to me that I was able to see that. And then across the street from there, they had the Ebenezer Baptist Church. And so then I went in there, we all went in there and toured it. And then I looked inside of a glass case and you had like the first communion plate that they used. And I was surprised by that also. And then you could see like where the choir was standing and where his Martin Luther King's chair was and where he sat down. So that also stood out to me.
Yeah, yeah. Anyone else? Then you went to his residence.
Yes.
Right. Talk about what that experience was like.
The whole house,
to the Martin Luther King residence when you went to the house.
Oh, okay. So I was amazed when I went there because I'm actually standing where somebody fought for our freedom and rights and gave his life just to make us have a better life of learning and experiencing how black culture can make us a better person. And I was just happy because he was living here, and yeah, it was a big opportunity, a big step, and I wish my mom was there to come experience it with me. Yeah. But she sacrificed her life to let me go on this trip, yeah. So I'm grateful. But I was just amazed because I'm standing with somebody who fought for our lives, and he slept there too. So I'm like, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So when I've seen those things, it has humanized people like Dr. King to me, that he actually lived in this house. He wore that suit. He handled that Bible. He wrote this script. Sydney, what were you about? Sure.
So at the
When we were at the street where they had everything with my MLK, it was the church and his house were on the same side of the street, and it just showed, I'll just say my experience at the house. So the house, I was surprised that it was still, like after, it was still well kept, and that there wasn't, it was very like, what's the word? Not refurbished, but it was, yeah, renovated. And it shows that people are actually out here trying to keep these things for us to see in the, to preserve his house and preserve everything. His church was still well kept for, and seeing, like taking pictures of the sanctuary in his church, it was beautiful. And even though we weren't able to go actually inside his house, in the museum there was pictures of what was inside his house, and being able to see that was very good.
Yeah. All right. So, in your Atlanta experience also, you got a chance to go to church, right? And what church did you attend?
New Birth.
New Birth Church. And you want to talk about New Birth? Go right ahead.
Okay, so we might think our church service is long, but that church service is long. It's like 5 hours. Like, we was in there for a long time. Seriously. Yeah, we had church. Wait, I'm going to my Wait, I'm going to
What did you say? What do we have? Oh, okay, you're confusing me. Okay. No, so something special was happening that day.
Oh, let me find my notes.
So they had a new pastor, and they were making them.
Who is the new pastor?
Jamal Bryant.
Okay, Dr. Jamal
Dr.
Bryant.
Jamal Bryant.
All right, it was an installation. Who was preaching that Sunday?
Bishop
Neil Ellis.
Bishop Neil Ellis. And Bishop Neil Ellis is your pastor's bishop. So it's amazing that y'all were there on the same Sunday that Bishop Ellis was there. And I heard y'all got a shout out.
Yeah.
Okay. So, huh?
Me and Hannah went to the restroom during our shout out.
Yeah, I missed a shout out. All right. So did Bishop Ellis do that? Dr. Bryant? All right, what did he say? Come on the mic.
So he said we had 25 scholarships from Houston, and then he said we could have went. He said we could have went to any other church.
Hold it close.
We should also go to New Birth. And so then the crowd started clapping, and they really felt that one.
All right. Okay. All right. I want you to think about what it's going to mean to you years from now that you experience Atlanta the way that you did. Who was in Atlanta for the first, well, most of you were there for the first time, right? Okay, so now your memories of Atlanta will forever be, I was there on a college tour. Really powerful. You went from there to,
Yes.
okay, so let's talk about what you saw there. What schools and what did you see?
To T, no.
All right, somebody explain that one.
Oh, okay, so that's the chant for Tuskegee College, which is located in Tuskegee, the town in Alabama, which that was my #1 pick. They said Morehouse, but their tour guide, Kerry, that was his name, Kerry, he had so much energy, like, because most of the tours, they were like, we had to do them ourselves, we had to walk around, we had to get the knowledge for ourselves, but he showed us around and he told us the history. It was founded by not Frederick Douglass, no, George Washington Carver, the inventor of the peanut, no, it was George Washington. It was Booker T. Washington. Booker T. Washington. Anyways, but that was my #1 pick for colleges, because whenever people say what college you think about going to, I always say University of Houston or Texas A&M. I never thought that I would want to leave state to go to a different college or even leave Houston. Period. because, you know, that's what we're raised upon. But that's what you said. Exposure expands our expectations, because now I want to go to Tuskegee College.
Awesome. So what did you learn about Tuskegee that's interesting and that's provocative? Anyone?
Tuskegee University has something that I learned and that's interesting to me is that Tuskegee has grave sites on there, and they also have, what is it called? No. Oh, a morgue. You know where you put the dead body in the cadavers? Yeah, they have that on school, and they have their highest majors is veterinarians, so they work with animals, and they have a hotel and a convention center.
So tell me about the cemetery that's there.
George Booker T. Washington.
His tomb is there.
Yeah, his and George Washington Carver and some of the other people who founded
Who else?
Tuskegee and some of the teachers and important people.
Okay. So what do you think about the fact that you're on the grounds where somebody as important in our history as a Booker T. Washington or George Washington Carver, you are there on the campus and the burial site? There's something we don't do enough in our culture, I believe. If you go right now to Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia, its founder, Dr. Jerry Falwell, his burial ground is there on the campus, and it's enshrined. If you go to the old Lakewood Church, where John Osteen started that church, his burial is there on the campus of that church. What do you think of the significance that you are there on this sacred ground where somebody whose life was big enough that is still impacting your life today? And you're a student at Booker T. Washington High School. So was it like to be there where the person for whom your school is named founded the school and is there? Yes.
With me being an opportunity to experience that, with my school being the first African American, black school, I thought that was a great opportunity because I'm stepping and I'm looking at this man's grave, and it's like I get to connect with it. Yeah. So my school being the first black school, and then I'm looking at the man who created my, named after my school. I thought that was amazing.
Yes. And have you thought about the fact that there's no street in Houston named Booker T. Washington? Have you thought about that? And who went to Who goes to Carver? So did you think about the connection?
At first, I really wasn't, because I was shocked. I was in shock because there was so many tombs, and I didn't realize that it really does take a village to get a child somewhere and give children education. And I felt honored to be there and see all the people that thought it was good for us to have education. And then they have 500, over 500 majors, and I thought that was amazing. And I was shocked, really. I didn't have words.
Yes, because there's no commercials on TV about Tuskegee and about Morris Brown and about Spelman and about Morehouse, as important as those institutions are. Why do you think we don't have commercials on TV about those HBCUs?
Because I don't think people think that our education is that important. They think that our HBCUs aren't what it needs to be, Yeah. So.
Anybody else want to respond to that question? Why do you think? Like at the schools you attend, have those schools been promoted? No. Yes. Okay, so why do you think they haven't been?
In my opinion, I think it's because they don't think they're giving us good enough education like others are getting. I feel that we should be promoted because some schools, we do a lot, and sometimes it's really educational, and sometimes it's just for fun for us to get to know stuff. And fun can be educational too, and we get a lot of that at Carver. I'm pretty sure at Booker T too. And I feel like it's not fair that some of the colleges don't get shown like other colleges, like they got flags with colleges everywhere, but you don't see Tuskegee, you don't see Morris Brown, you don't see none of that. And I think that we should see that.
Yeah. Awesome. All the high school students in the audience, lift your hand. And the high school students, or middle school students, lift your hand. Okay. How many of you have any banners or any brochures in your schools for Morris Brown or Spelman or Morehouse or Tuskegee? All right. I see one hand. What school do you attend? You at Booker T. Washington. Okay. So that happens in some black schools, probably most. Why do you think that's the case? Tell somebody so we won't go. Come on, say it again. So we won't go.
So we won't go.
Because if we don't go, they won't last. I want us to really just, it's not rocket science to get that. It's so that our kids won't know their own story and won't know that those institutions are available and that they are credible and that they have graduated some of the greatest scholars the nation has ever seen. See, and so in the proper terminology, that's called injustice. You see, that's social and educational and economic and cultural injustice. And it's designed to diminish and to ultimately extinguish a culture, not just a college. Because a college is a what? Institution. Say institution. An institution preserves culture. So when you destroy the institutions, then you are systematically destroying the culture. Remember, get sense? So the fact that you got a chance to see these colleges, these HBCUs, now you're exposed to institutions that are designed to perpetuate the legitimacy and the absolute superiority, not in terms of being better than others, but the fact that our culture is not inferior and that we can produce academicians on the level that are world changers. Somebody ought to give God a hand out because you got a chance to see that. So tell me what else is Tuskegee famous for? Let the students talk. What else is Tuskegee famous for?
So it's not only founded by Booker T. Washington, it's also founded by Lewis Adams. He was a white man who wanted to also have black African American people to have a school. So the thing was, they had the plan for the college, but they just didn't have the land. I mean, they didn't have the land.
Didn't have a land. Yes.
So they had to find the land, and then they had an endowment. And then Booker T. Washington came, and he gave a lot of money. So that's how both of them came together and made Tuskegee.
Who gave a lot of money?
Booker T. Washington.
Okay.
He gave $1 million in endowment.
Okay. What did?
Oh, he raised.
He raised it.
He went to different people and he said, I need this amount of money. Like he raised it for the college.
Using his reputation.
Yes.
And his influence, he raised money.
Yes, sir.
All right. And with the help of Mr. Adams. Right? So it was a black-white partnership.
Yes, sir.
That tells you also that when you find anybody with a good heart, it doesn't matter what their ethnicity is, right? But what if, and this is important too, so he used his influence to raise money for an institution for somebody coming behind him. Right. So influence is important and the proper use of influence. So as you're becoming influential, your influence is not simply for you, right? It's for you to use that influence as best you can to make life and the world better for others, right? What about the Tuskegee Airmen? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't have nothing to say.
Yes, you do.
That's just what they were famous for also.
Well, why? Don't ask them, Mike. Tell us whatever you want to share, whatever it was.
No, I was just going to say Tuskegee Airmen.
All right. So the Tuskegee Airmen, who knows something about them? Go ahead.
So one thing was the reason why Tuskegee was kind of famous because of the Tuskegee Airmen was because the Tuskegee Airmen trained on Tuskegee ground.
All right, they trained on Tuskegee ground, and what did they do? They flew planes where? Okay. Okay, they were the only black pilots who flew warplanes in World War II. And remember this, they flew planes in a war for a country that didn't treat them like equal citizens. So you want to make sure you understand that, make that in your notes, that they flew planes in a war for a nation that did not recognize them as full citizens. Because we didn't even have a Voters' Rights Act then, and the Civil Rights Bill then. Making sense? So when people are making America great again, they need to remember that America became great on the sacrifices of the lives of even black soldiers who served, sacrificed, many of them died, even when they couldn't vote in America and were still being oppressed and segregation was still prevalent. That's the campus you were on. Isn't that amazing? So if you go to A&M, great school, you go to UVH, great school, you go to Baylor, great school, you're not going to come across that kind of history on those campuses. So the pride that you get we on the campuses of a Tuskegee is a different kind of vibe, because you're saying, I'm studying where the Tuskegee Airmen study, where men had the kind of courage and tenacity to fight for a nation's future that might not have ever considered themselves as equal citizens, but they believed in it, and that's patriotism. So even if you choose for whatever reason, that's why when you get a Colin Kaepernick who says, I'm kneeling at the national anthem because black brothers are being shot down when black brothers have died for the flag. That becomes a whole nother debate and argument. So you say, I know I've been to Tuskegee. I know how America became great. You understand? You got to know your stuff. That's where you've been. That's what, all right. Now, so then I know you went from there to Louisiana, right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then where did you go to in Louisiana?
LSU.
We went to Dillard University.
To Dillard?
Yes, sir.
All right. And what did you think about Dillard?
Dillard's a pretty decent college. One thing that really caught my attention immediately was the first thing that she said that it was noticed for was basketball and track and volleyball for their sports, and also for their majors. They said they have a really good religious speaking program. They said they have a good architectural program. They said they had, they have good majors.
Okay. All right. Well, somebody, while I'm talking, one of the ladies, give me the brochure that has all the ladies, the 12 ladies that we're looking at for this month in National Women's History Month. One of y'all have that, someone in your Bibles? Hope you do. Now, and what other school in New Orleans?
LSU and Southern University.
All right. Did anything stand out in those?
Oh, and
Loyola. Okay. All right. So what did you learn different in Louisiana? In New Orleans, yes.
Loyola, that's how you say it?
Loyola.
Yeah. When we went there, it wasn't an HBCU, and it was really diverse, and I liked it that they had things to incorporate everybody. Like every third Friday, they have like get-togethers. Like this third Friday, they having a crawfish bowl, and they give like sweatshirts and T-shirts and stuff, and I think that's cool. And then they have traditions like rub one of the statue's feet for good luck during your midterms and finals. And then if you step on the seal, you won't graduate for 4 years unless you run to the statue in 10 seconds. It was really fun. And I enjoyed going there and learning stuff. Their campus is big, but I know there's bigger campuses, but that was a big college.
Gotcha.
What really caught my eye in Louisiana was Southern University, because their law school was #1 and out of all HBCUs, and that and in Loyola, that's their stocking class, that they had a very good stocking class too. And like they have this room where it keeps up with all the stocks that goes up and down each day, and it just tells
stock
you.
Market.
Yeah.
All right. So they have a real powerful financial economic education program there. All right. Let me. So in this experience, as you're touring these colleges and going to these different cities, riding on the buses together, whatever you did. What was it like to get to know each other?
I'll go first.
Ladies first.
I really enjoyed myself. I got to actually talk to more people than I normally do, because when I come, I'll probably talk to Hannah or Xavier, and then when we talk, it's not like a detailed conversation. But when we were on this trip, we started friendships. Some of us became associates and then friends. We had a lot of fun. We bonded. We played games. We just had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Okay, so